Welcome back, I'm Ken, and this is my scrapbook report for the Bournemouth draw, 0-0 draw away to Bournemouth. So on my channel I put together my own scrapbook and I share the stories, match reports and stats, and plenty of my own thoughts. It's all about sharing the highs and lows and everything in between as a Toon fan. So here we go. Let's investigate the 0-0, the third 0-0 draw away this season. So let's take a look at what was said pre-match by various people. Newcastle were away to Bournemouth, who are flying at the moment. It's their best start in the Premier League since they came back up, to be honest. The home record is excellent. It's a very hard place to go and get any points. Our record there has been poor over the years, ever since Eddie left Bournemouth and then eventually arrived on Newcastle a year or two later. So it was rather telling that as we look into the formation that Eddie announced, and I'll talk about that in a minute, that we kind of switched to a back five with 3 centre-halves and 2 wing-backs. So defensively we were looking for a solid performance, looking to give them possession and counter-attack, basically. And that's what happened to a large extent. So especially in the wake of the Barcelona defeat, Eddie spoke about how to deal with the come down following a match like that and the atmosphere that was there on Thursday. Bournemouth is a very small ground, as we know. Only about 11 or 12,000 get in there. So psychologically, it's an issue. Rather than a physical issue, it's a mental issue for the lads as they approached another game only three days after the Champions League match. But that's a fact of life now. It's a nice fact of life that we have to deal with, that we're in the Champions League. So let's look at the team that came next that Eddie announced. So in my previous video looking at this match, I did predict some changes. I did not predict the 7 changes that Eddie went on to make when he announced his team yesterday. I'm recording this on Monday, the 22nd, I think it is today. Oh dear. Yeah, 22nd of September. 7 changes. Bruno and Joe Linton were rested and left on the bench. Joe obviously coming back from an injury, so it makes sense to put him back on the bench and give him rest. Bruno, I'm not so sure about. Obviously, Shaw and Trippier were out injured, although Trippier did make the bench, which was a surprise for me. But starting today, we had Hall, Miley and Chow. The formation, it varies depending on who you chat to, but 3-5-2 is probably the closest, or 3-5-1-1. So that's how it laid out. So the team was Pope, Hall, Botman, Chow, Livramento, and then we had Murphy, and then as a wing back, and then into midfield we had Tonali, Miley, and Willock, and then up front we had Big Nick, who was looking for his first away goal in the Premier League for us. It did not come, obviously. It was a 0-0. So a lot of changes made. Would it work? Well, we got a point, so it worked to an extent, but we did not score again, sadly. But this is the match build-up, so I'll go on to explain why we didn't score. So this is where I talk about the goals. This is my goals page. I'm forever an optimistic. And Newcastle kept a clean sheet for the third time in 3 away matches, which is a bit of a Premier League record apparently. But if you look at the real stats, it's the first time since 1901-02 season. I don't remember that season at all. I don't even remember anyone talking about that season around me. But hey ho. So Newcastle were blunt going forward. We failed to score again, having failed to score at Leeds and Aston Villa away. But we did come away with a point. So we have to look at that as a positive. So it was a game of few chances on both sides, to be honest. You can see from the attacking momentum, it did swing either way over in the first half and in the second half. In fact, we were quite strong up until about the last 15, 18 minutes or so, I would suggest. SofaScore had Botman and Hall and Tonali as our highest marked players. I still don't know how SofaScore come up with their numbers, but I'll go with it because it's all I have. I didn't get to see the game. I was moving my nephew to his university, first year at university down in Sheffield. So I listened to some of it on the radio, and then I really missed the second half because I was moving stuff. But as you can see, I didn't miss a lot because the expected goals, well, they're virtually zero. A couple of chances, I guess, but nothing to write home about. Various fans have reacted online. Poor selection, they were saying. Some were saying, can't wait to see Johan Visser back. Obviously, we're going to have to wait for that one, I'm afraid. Another one said it was boring. We went for a draw. If we went for a draw, that's fine. We came away with a point, so that was objective met. However, not scoring goals is not something that we are used to. Tonali was doing his best to get things moving, but he was flogging a dead horse, said one fan, and the performance was a boring game. Another fan said hard-earned a point. The time is coming when Newcastle will actually win 3 points at Bournemouth. I'm not so sure about that. It's a very hard place to go to and come back with points, as we well know. So the first and obvious question was, how well was Newcastle going to cope going all the way down to the south coast less than 72 hours after suffering a 2-1 defeat against Barcelona? Navigating these challenges is always a stretch. When we were last in the Champions League in 2023, after the first time against Borussia Dortmund, we were injury hit, drained, and we were beaten by Bournemouth a few days later. So 2 years on, a much changed Newcastle left the south coast with a point. So we are evolving and changing as an attacking force. Eddie Howe told match of the day. His formation. I like the strength of our team, by the way. I like the strength of our squad. And we did well in that respect. Bournemouth edged it on some of the stats as far as possession was concerned. We didn't really press like we did against Barcelona, but we did give it a go. Again, another day we might have crept away with a 1-0 win, which probably wouldn't have been justified. But if you sneak a goal, Liverpool do this. If you sneak a goal, then you get the 3 points, and they all count. Nobody looks at the what-ifs afterwards. So looking at some of the pictures that came out after the match, you can see that Chow made his debut for Newcastle, first full outing. So that was exciting. I think Miley reached a milestone as well, 50 games. Obviously, a lot of those were subs for Newcastle. And then Pope had his 100th Premier League game for Newcastle. We were lucky as far as a yellow card was concerned for Chow. By all accounts, he probably should have been sent off late in the second half for a second yellow, but the referee was generous to us, which was thank you very much. Big shout out for Big Nick. You can see his shirt's getting pulled. Was it enough to convince the referee to give us a penalty, or VAR to give us a penalty? Absolutely not. That's life, isn't it, eh? So psychologically, we did okay. We did well. Physically, we were okay as well. But there'll be tougher matches coming up after Premier League matches than just Bournemouth away. So we're just going to have to hope the injuries don't come and that we can put out a strong team. I thought this was a pretty strong team. There's still people learning. Miley's a class player, by the way. He's getting some stick from the fans at the moment, which I don't agree with. He always looks a bit lethargic, and they always say his passing is always the short passes. But if you do the link-up stuff, you get goals. If you saw the goal against Barcelona that Gordon scored and the 10 passes that led up to it, that's what Miley can add. He can break through and with a pass rather than having to go past people. Physically, he's growing still as well. He's a young man. So give him a break, people, please. So just the one target on effort. It came in the second half. And it's a record. Goalless draws. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? So let's look at what Eddie said after the match in his post-match interviews with the BBC and Sky, etc. He said, we showed the strength of our squad today because I did think it was a good performance without being a match-winning one. He came away with a point, folks. He went with a plan. The plan was executed. And another day, like I said, we could have crept away with 3 points. So we used a lot of different players, 7 changes. So that was a really positive sign. We would have not made those in 23. We just didn't have the depth of squad. So there were some really good performances and things that happened, he said. Defensively, we're really good. You want to see the team defending our box well, hard to play against, strong, robust. And I think we were all those things, he said. Eddie said, obviously, the concern for us is that we weren't free-flowing in creating the amount of chances that we would want. But it was a very difficult place to come. And I think a point is a good result. If you look at the games we played, it's not by luck that we kept these clean sheets. Talking of Nick Pope, he said he made a great couple of saves, but it was the performance of the team that was cohesive and minimised space for them. We weren't as aggressive, but it was a mixture of Wednesday and getting the best out of our players. We pride ourselves on scoring goals, he said, and being an attacking team, but we are evolving as a team. So I don't know where that takes us, whether the pressing disappears at some point. We don't press as often, which might be the case. You can't always be 100% pressing. You have to change your tactics. And as you know, some of the long ball stuff is coming back into the game if you listen to various esteemed managers and international managers. So Eddie went on to say, we're not going to be the same team as last year. We need to find different ways to score and attack, but we do have the players to do it. It's not good. You want to create chances and clear-cut chances. I didn't feel that our performance merited that, he said, and I totally agree from everything that I've read in the match highlights I watched. He was happy with Chow, thought he qualities as an outstanding player. He's got a little bit of everything physically and technically, and he wants to defend. So a very promising start, he said. On Big Nick, naturally, we will be a different team attacking-wise without Alex. We will be attacking with a different emphasis. Nick was very effective here with his footwork and link play. You see some lovely passes. We just need to get to know him and him to get to know us and the style that we play. We need to get more runners off him because he's very good in that respect. So you can see again, that's part of the evolution or the evolving team that Eddie's now talking about in more detail. You're never going to replace Alex, he said. World class, totally very different. All centre forwards are different to a degree, and we have to work with what we have. So Nick's a goal getter at the end of the day. He said his record last year was very strong. So it wasn't a criticism of him today, more of the team. We got to get some good areas and areas we should have done better in or from. On the penalty, his gut was, yes, it was a penalty. Sadly, referee and VAR did not agree. Dan Burn spoke briefly afterwards as well. It's not been the way we've played here in the past since I've been back at Newcastle or up in Newcastle. We changed up and went more direct. The pointers are good, and we changed 6 or 7 players. It showed the depth of the squad. We've invested well in the summer, and we spent a lot of money. We should use those players, and it's probably a lesson we've learned from the previous campaign in the Champions League. We've all spoken about this as fans, by the way. We know that although we were in the Champions League, we could not go through the same rigour and path that we went through last time, just using a few players and then getting them injured. So it's a must that we continue. Dan added he was very pleased with the clean sheet that the team created again. On the penalty shout, he was quite funny when he answered this. I didn't see it, to be honest. I'd have to see it again, but I'll say it was a penalty. So bring it on, he says. Let's move forward. So to end on a positive and happy note, and this brings back fantastic memories. We got Bradford City at home on Wednesday in the Cup. Really looking forward to it. These memories took 50 years to come. 69 was when I heard on the radio the 2 matches. I was too young to go. And it was just joyous. Bobby Moncur, brilliant. So when we won earlier this year the Carabao Cup, all the emotions came out, and it was just brilliant. I'm tearing up now, to be honest. It's we've won something, folks. We won something, and it's not the Texaco Cup or the Anglo-Italian Cup from the 70s, thank God. So let's look forward to Wednesday, and away the lads. So in closing, thank you for watching. Really appreciate it if you've managed to get this far. If you haven't, then skip back to a few of the others or skip forward, and you'll see some great pictures and stats and facts and a few of my views and what Eddie said and what Big Dan said about the 0-0 draw at Bournemouth. As I said on my last slide, we got the Carabao Cup again, folks, on Wednesday. Another fantastic opportunity to win something and to win it in style and make us all proud again. And we can have a parade again. So take care. Away the lads and lasses.